Let's speak now to Mohamad Elmasry. He's professor at the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Great to have you back in here with us, Mohamad. So the first week of 2025 has been particularly violent in an already violent situation in the occupied West Bank. Why are we seeing this spike now?
I think it's been a slow build. Israel started this kind of escalation in the West Bank all the way back in August and September of 2024. So we're kind of getting to this this build-up now, this boiling point. But clearly, Israel is feeling emboldened by the incoming Trump presidency. I think that they have designs on kind of formally annexing large swaths of the West Bank, and this is all part of the escalation strategy. Israel is an expansionist state, and they want to build toward that idea of greater Israel, right? That all of this land is supposed to be for them.
And it's not only the Israeli government feeling emboldened, is it? It's individual Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank who are feeling emboldened by the incoming Trump administration. And why not? Because let's face it, the sanctions that the world has put on them so far have not had any deterrent effect.
No, not at all. I mean, look, the United States, issued these sanctions against a handful of settlers, but this was more of an attempt at distraction. I mean, it's in many ways it's preposterous, the idea that you would sanction a few individuals but not go after the entity that is supporting these individuals and that props up the policy and that advocates and implements the policy, which is the Israeli government. I mean, the occupation is official Israeli policy and doctrine, but the U.S. Doesn't do anything about that or to address that. That's the larger issue. That's the elephant in the room. But the U.S. continues, obviously, to provide support for Israel in the occupation and also in its war on Gaza.
We know that the Israeli army supports settlers in these attacks. It stands back and it doesn't intervene at the very least. What about the PA, the Palestinian Authority, in this area? What are they doing? What is their role in supposedly protecting the Palestinians?
Well, first of all, you're right to note that the Israeli government, the Israeli security forces, the military, the police, they fully support the settlers, and they often, as you note, just sit back and watch, as documented by human rights groups, while settlers are terrorizing Palestinians. The PA, the Palestinian Authority, sadly, is kind of a collaborator with Israel. They've been described by scholars as the kind of the subcontractor for the occupation. So they do a lot of the occupation's dirty work. And you're talking about this escalation. Well, this Israeli escalation has coincided with, not coincidentally, I don't think, with the PA's own escalation in the West Bank. The PA has been going around and arresting Palestinians, carrying out acts of violence. Several Palestinians have been killed just in the past few weeks by the Palestinian Authority, including a journalist. So this is part of the PA's role, right? They do a lot of Israel's bidding. They protect Israel's interests. That includes stifling dissent, shutting down websites, cracking down on protests that are critical of Israel, and then shutting down Al Jazeera. Which I thought was very interesting, not only because it was a very repressive move and one that will not be popular with Palestinians, most of whom, or many of whom at least watch Al Jazeera and learn about the aspects of the conflict in different areas in Gaza and the West Bank, but also because it was mirroring or mimicking what Israel had done with respect to Al Jazeera. So you can see that, the Palestinians are kind of getting it in the West Bank from both Israel and the PA.
And if the PA is brought in to rule Gaza, if we're talking about the day after the war in Gaza, does this give us some indication as to what Gaza would look like?
Yeah, well, I think I wrote an article on this last week on Al Jazeera. But the point that I was trying to make in that article is that one of the reasons why the PA is escalating right now is because it's trying to curry favor with Israel and with the United States because it wants a role in post-war Gaza, right? So I think that's really important. But for sure, that would not be good news for the Palestinians. I have to note that the PA is overwhelmingly unpopular among Palestinians in the West Bank and in Gaza. The Palestinians as a population do not have much trust or faith in the Palestinian Authority.
Mohamad Elmasry, great to speak to you. Thanks for coming in.